you know what we're doing today with this work. So before I start that though, there was a message that didn't get quite put out that we would like everybody to have some water, so like a vessel or a cup of water with you. So if you could take a moment to just go get that, that would be really great. And then I'll let you know kind of what we're doing here. Just checking to see if folks are back. I think some people don't have their cameras on, or their cameras are off. So hopefully we're good to go. Just going to check one more time. So we're doing this, hey? Okay. So this is the second of 4 rituals that we're doing in 2020 into 2021. And we're in these rituals, we're following a story of Baba Yaga and Vasilisa. And the first ritual was on summer solstice, and that was the ritual that we worked with being guided by lineage. And and now we're moving into the second part of the story where we are about to embark on this journey through Baba Yaga's dark forest. So the ritual tonight, this afternoon, in all the time zones, is really gonna focus on, it's really what we're doing is we're beginning together in community a spell for liberation by working to dismantle white supremacy, like in ourselves, but also in BC Witch Camp community and in the reclaiming community in the broader globally. And part of that is also to create space, obviously, for visibility and the voices of witches who are Black and Indigenous and people of color. So I'm really excited to be with you all to start this spell. And this is a spell that is going to work for a long, it's not going to be fast work, but we're doing it. So, and we're doing it in magical space through ritual. So very excited about today. So happy to be with you all. And I think that is all that I was supposed to say about that. And Suzanne is going to teach you a chant.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. Great to be here with you. Great to be in ritual space with you. I'm going to teach a song. It's very simple. I'll sing it one time through. The words are breath by breath. There is life, there is death. She is rising. Breath by breath. There is life, there is death. She is rising. She is here. She is here. She is rising. She is here. She is everywhere. She is rising. And in this particular moment, giving over to the death of some of the stories, some of the cycles of violence, some of the ways that we have been perpetuating those, letting those be composted and bringing in something else with the breath, this new life, this new story. Feel free to change the gender pronouns if you'd like. I'm looking at this song tonight as a song to Baba Yaga, that she is rising as the great force that can bring both life and death to us, that is an initiatory force. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is rising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. So that's the melody. I'll do it line by line, and then you can sing it back. First line. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Your turn. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Second line. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Your turn. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Third line. She is here, she is here, she is arising. Your turn. She is here, she is here, she is arising. Last line. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Your turn. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Whole thing one time. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. And there we go. So feel free to add your own harmonies and your own bits.
So we're going to start by grounding. So I just want to invite you to stand if you would like, or if you ground better by being seated, or just, and whether you're standing or seated, just take a moment to stretch a little bit and move your body, and really, if you can, bring your awareness right to your body and notice what really wants to move, what needs a little stretch, a little flow. And then just maybe give one more little shake. And then let's just all together, or in our own space, take 3 deeper breaths, maybe by putting a hand on your belly or your chest or your solar plexus or wherever you feel, or couple of places, and just taking in a breath right into those hands. A deeper breath, and on the exhale, just kind of letting go of anything that's keeping you from being present here. Second breath, just letting go again. Third inhale, just calling yourself to your center. And letting go of anything, kind of like a breath purification. And then just feeling your body settle. Feeling the place where your body touches the ground, through the floor, through the chair. If you're standing, you may want to just really focus on your feet. And feeling that settling as gravity holds us to the beautiful earth. I invite you to just, it's not even so much about send, but be willing to allow your roots to go into the ground. It's as if the earth is kind of gently tugging on them, opening for those roots to sink into her body. Some of them connecting in with that mycelium. And others moving deeper into the earth, and feel with your awareness what that's like in your body to have those roots go deep into the earth as she invites them. And when you feel that those roots are deep enough, on your in-breath, just invite in that beautiful grounded energy that the earth offers us. Breathing that earth energy up through your roots, up and through and in through the roots that are intertwined with the mycelium, and up through your body, through all of the veins and energy veins in your body, just bringing groundedness and maybe a little bit of energy that can be expanded into your energy field to just give us the strength to do this work, the energy we need to do this work. And that energy also rising up from the ground, through your crown into the sky, where it meets the energy of the starry heavens, and inviting that energy of the starry heavens in through your crown to blend with that earth energy down through your body into the earth. And just be in this place, whether in stillness or movement, to feel that way in which the heavens and the earth can ground us and feed our bodies and our energy fields, and we can also draw nourishment from that link in to the mycelium. Everything we need is here to do this work. And if it feels like there's a little too much energy, please return that excess to the earth. And while you're doing that, sending a little blessing. And if there is no excess, no problem. And just the last piece is, if your eyes are closed, to open your eyes from this place of standing between earth and sky. And just notice where you are in your sacred space. And notice on the screen who is with you doing this work tonight. We're here together, connected, supporting each other. Blessed be.
And so now we create a magical container for going into uncertainty. It's a good thing we are witches who are accustomed to holding paradox, no? Guided by lineage, we journey into Baba Yaga's dark forest. There is a holding and a surrender together in that. And so as I look around this circle on my screen, I can feel in my body, there was like a little waking up that happened when I heard Suzanne playing the drum. Like what it's like to be in this circle of witches. And so even though we are traveling into uncertainty together, we are still making a container together. And we are doing it guided by lineage. So I ask you to reach now into that place in your body where you hold connection to lineage. We are creating a container that will move with us through uncertainty, as our ancestors of blood, spirit, and craft have done. And I ask you to, with me, begin in the north. By the power of bone, and moving to the east, by the power of breath, and to the south, by the power of this spark of life. To the west, by the power of blood. all that is above. And all that is below. By the bone and breath, by the life force and the blood of our lineage, we cast this circle as we journey into Baba Yaga's dark forest. The circle is cast. We are between the worlds. And what happens between the worlds changes all the worlds. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Blessed. I invite you now, again, if you would like to stand and face the directions as we invoke them into our space. And if that doesn't work for you, that's fine too. I want you to face the east and imagine that you're flying on the wind all the way to the eastern horizon. And below you, you see all the trees, all the plants, and they're all making oxygen. They're all creating fresh air. Breathe deeply into that oxygen. Be deeply nourished. Take a deep breath and say hello to air. And now I invite you to face the south and imagine that you can sense all the way to the southern horizon and beyond the divine spark in each being, sparking, creating, living, making, or just being. Sense that divine spark in yourself. Snap your fingers, maybe smile. Say hello to fire. And now I invite you to face the west. And imagine that you can hear all the waters of the world, all the way to the western horizon and beyond. Hear the waters singing, dripping, tinkling, rushing, roaring, making a joyous song. And feel the song, hear the song in your own blood. Maybe tap your heart and let out a tone. Hello, 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 water. And now I invite you to face the north. And imagine that you can navigate by smell all the way to the northern horizon and beyond. Imagine that you can smell each critter, each animal in the forest, in the meadows, in the wild places, in the not so wild places. So sniff the air, maybe paw the ground, and say hello to earth. And now I invite you to bring your consciousness back to your own body. Maybe touch your belly or your heart, wherever you feel your center. And breathe into that place in yourself. And know that you are taking in exactly what you need from this magic. And know that what you're giving out is exactly what is needed. This magic. So take a deep breath into your center. Say hello to center. Blessed be.
Tonight, as we approach equinox, we do big magic. And as witches, we are never alone. And we invite our allies to join us. And with the words of Shia of 2002, our poet, the shining ones, a waft of breath, a glint of light, the silver bloods, flames of passion burning with true knowledge of self, the red bloods, water slithering, teeming with slithering creatures, the blue bloods, tall trees reaching from ground to sky, the green bloods, and in the center of the throbbing heart of the mother, love, the fabric of the universe. On the wings of dragons, the company is formed. We are witches and we are never alone. And this night we ask those of our lineage who are meant to do this work with us, the ancestors that are meant to do the work with us, the two-legged ones, the four-legged ones. We ask those who swim and those who fly and those who crawl and those who slither, the rooted ones, the still ones that are unmovable. We ask the mycelium, the stars, the weather beings, the minute ones, the vast ones, all those we work with, seen and unseen, known and unknown. And we are not alone. They are here. Welcome.
Vasilisa, Vasilisa the courageous, Vasilisa the brave, Vasilisa the wise, Vasilisa the apprentice, the initiate, Vasilisa the descendant, Vasilisa, be with us in this big magic, in this time of great need, in this circle of witches. We call to you. We call to you who began your journey into the woods, already knowing great loss, knowing the loss of family, knowing cruelty, and yet hearing this call to the woods being sent forth, went forth. We call to your courage to face impossible tasks. We call to you who faced what simply it seemed could not be done, and in doing it, turned to your ancestors' voices. In this work where it at times seems like we don't know how to do this, we turn to you who showed up. And we ask you to be with us in your courage, in your grace. We ask you to be with us, Vasilisa the wise, Vasilisa the brave. Be here with us tonight. Hail and welcome, Vasilisa.
And so when we know that Vasilisa is present, we also know that Dolly is present as well. So I'm going to invite in this little friend of mine into our circle tonight. This is Bear Bear, who I've had since I was 4. Just before my dad passed away, I was given this little friend. So I feel like this is my Dolly. And so I'm going to invite us together with Bear Bear to welcome in Dolly to our circle tonight. And so you might start to see Dolly take shape. You might see this body start to appear. Perhaps the arms are next, or the legs start to take shape. You may see a gender. You may start to notice the skin form, feel the bones. So Dolly, we invite you here with us tonight into this space, and we will recommit to taking care of you as you take care of us. We know your voice is a powerful one, a voice connected to our lineage, our ancestors, our allies. So welcome, Dolly. We welcome you with us here in this space. We commit and recommit to coming back to you, to connecting to you. We thank you for being with us on what feels like the impossible. When we are witches, we are not alone. We know you are here. We invite you here and welcome you here. Blessed be.
Hail, Baba Yaga. We know you or don't know you as the grandmother of time, time which goes not in a line, but spools and spools and comes back into itself. Baba Yaga, you were young once. You were young once. I have a vision of you, copper-skinned, black, unruly mop of hair, coming in through the north on the back of a mighty mastodon, laughing and laughing and laughing. Baba Yaga, you are young. You are old. You are the grandmother of time. We wander in your forests on our way to you with great trepidation. And we know that somewhere out there you fly in your usual accommodation of the mortar, steering with the pestle, brushing the tree tops. Come in, grandmother. Thank you and blessed be.
Blessed be.
Mycelia. Mycelia, I had an image of mycelia just yesterday between big blocks of wood that I'd been planning to use for something. But when I picked the top one off, it had completely crumbled inside because the mycelia had made these networks and the ants had joined along and crumbled entirely these things that looked intact on the outside and were completely changed on the inside. Mycelia between the layers of straw in my garden make a mesh that the worms join in and feed with their worm dung. Mycelia. Mycelia, we can feel perhaps in our bodies the meshness of our tissues, regularly or irregularly woven from threads of cell and element and nutrient and waste. Like mycelia, the starry network above us, exchanging mystery, exchanging energy, exchanging we don't know what. So with breath and with sinew in our own bodies, perhaps we can join mycelia as weavers of a mesh, of a pathway, of many multiple pathways of cooperation, of exchange between resource and need. I want to take a breath and feel that in my body, the connection between resource and need, woven at ease. Strong, renewable, infinitely shapeable. Mycelia, you are here and we welcome you. Blessed be.
Welcome, Mycelia. Blessed be. So we're going to move into this trance, but before we move into this trance, I'm going to invite us to revisit where we've been. If you'd like to stand up or if you'd like to move your body, I invite you to do that. If you haven't moved your body yet, I invite you to do that. Moving even fingertips or just a little bit of shoulders or a little bit of spine or a little bit of hips. I invite you to do that. Where have we come from? We've come from this intention to be guided by lineage. And so in this moment, acknowledging those lineages that are part of who we are and part of how we got to this place, lineages of blood and bone and DNA. Lineages of the unknown. Some of us don't know those cellular lineages, but perhaps we can feel them. Lineages of the craft of magic making, the craft of game changing, the craft of revolution and liberation. All those lineages woven through us as we connect down to the lineage of the 300 miles of mycelium beneath every footstep that we take on this planet. This way in which we're so deeply intertwined and interconnected, the past moving into the present, moving into the future. All of you who guide us, lineage keepers, who live in us, who initiate us forward, we call you to offer your energy, your information, and your inspiration for this work, this body of work. We ask, humbly join us. You who we are guided by consciously or unconsciously. You who we are guided by consciously or unconsciously. We call you to this work. You who we don't want to see. We don't want to see what you did. You who caused so much harm. We call you to this work. We acknowledge you and we say, here and today, we stop those cycles of violence. We stop them with this work. We acknowledge you and we offer ourselves as way showers, as transformers, as alchemizers. And you whose lives were lost, you who were harmed, we honor you. We honor your lives, the beauty, the grace, the resilience. We honor you, the way you live in us. And you, freedom fighters, you, artists and healers and revolutionaries and writers and witches. We honor you living in us, calling us forward, initiating us, and we celebrate you and we need you. We need your lessons. We need your laughter. We need your language. We need your tears. We need your fire. We need your practical magic now. In this time when we say, actually, I'm awakening. I'm awakening to white supremacy. I'm awakening to misogyny. I'm awakening to the ways that I am bringing those patterns even into my revolutionary work, even into the communities that I love. I recognize this. And I call you who guide me consciously, unconsciously. I say, I am a magician. I am a witch. I believe in the power of change. I believe in the long arc that bends toward justice. I believe in the possibility of instant change. I believe in magic. So guided by this lineage, I also call forth those who come after us, those witches who will inherit this work. Those witches who will inherit this work. What could it look like? What could it look like? Witches of the future, we do this work on your behalf. We do this work of liberation. We do this work of looking within and taking accountability for ourselves, for our communities, for the shadow, and for the grace. So guided by this lineage, guided by this information and blood and bone and spark and resilience and courage, with the help of Vasilisa, with the help of the Dali, with the initiatory call of the Baba Yaga, we enter the forest.
Witches, I invite you to breathe. Breathe and feel how vast your lungs are, how the air connects you to every living being on this planet. We go to Baba Yaga's dark forest. And guess what? It's connected to the forest at Evans Lake. All dark forests are connected. How lucky for us. So breathe and ready yourself to step into that dark forest. Perhaps you want to sit. Perhaps you want to stand and move. Perhaps your legs need to carry you around. Trust your body to do what is needed for you right now. And breathe. Sweet witches, I invite you to expand. Expand your awareness. Expand your edges. Let yourself become wide and vast. Let those things that hem you in, those boundaries that hold you human, let them soften. And as those things soften, as your edges widen, as you become altered, let your witch's eye open. That inner eye that sits just above and between your normal seeing eyes. Let that eye open. Let that eye open. Let that eye open and see. We are connected to the mycelium all the time. All the time. And as we feel that connection, it feeds this etheric connection we have on Zoom, on the internet, on this unseeing band that keeps us connected, even when our physical bodies are not. With your witch's eye, feel and see and sense and smell that mycelium. Those threads of connection that hold us together, that hold our planet together, that keep us communicating. Feel that mycelium as if it is a superhighway. And dip yourself into it. Dip yourself into that mycelium layer that branches and weaves and bobs and moves and carries us across the land. And let it carry you to Evans Lake. Let the mycelium carry you to Evans Lake. And if you've been in those waters, feel them. And if you've seen the beauty of those waters, see it. Hear the animals in the forest calling you. Smell the beauty of that land. And if you haven't yet witnessed the beauty that is Evans Lake, look at the images on the screen. Let them fuel your imagination. Let them fuel your witch's eye. Even if you haven't been there, your witch's eye can see it. Let the gentle lapping of water fill your senses. The mycelium can carry us to Evans Lake. And although we can be here and sense it and connect, we're not exactly physically there. We travel to Evans Lake through the astral. We visit Evans Lake through the astral. And to help support our work for the next few months until we can be on that land again, we want to solidify this astral lake. We want to make and create and form an astral temple so that we can return here again and again and again over the coming months. A place to hold us through the discomfort of revolution. A place to connect us to our beloveds. A place to connect us to decades of magic. So form that astral temple that is the lake. Breathe to it. Make noise, tone, make swooshing sounds. Call to the lake in this astral place. Let the sound reverberate along those lapping waves. Staying in mute, staying on mute. Speak out loud what this place looks like. What do you see? What is in this astral temple? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? What do you feel? And if you feel so called in this moment, if Evans Lake, the astral temple of Evans Lake, is firm and solid in your awareness, type some of those things in the chat box. What does the astral Evans Lake look like? What does the astral Evans Lake smell like and feel like? What do you hear in this astral realm being connected to Evans Lake? This is our place. Lake Spirit, the Lake Spirit, moss people, mycelium made of starlight woven through the waters. Saying the names of those that will be at the lake, those that have been at the lake, in harmony with the Squamish people on the land, yes. Fairy gates in the woods and rocky meeting grounds. Many of us witches gathered there, resting under the willow tree, naked on the docks. The trees welcoming us back. The dawn reflected on the water. Yes, the willow tree, hold the willow tree in that witch's eye. See it growing strong and tall and holding us in its embrace of shadow. Mycelium, relaxing and laughing, yes. Feel this astral temple become more and more firm with every comment in the box, with everything you feel, with all of the beloveds, the green bloods and the red bloods, our witch allies, all being there with us. Feel that astral form of Evans Lake becoming stronger and clearer and more real. We create this place to hold us through the discomfort of revolution. We create this place to hold us as community when we cannot hold each other physically. We create this place to allow us to be authentically ourselves. We create this place as our entryway into the dark forest, as our connection to the dark forest. Baba Yaga, we are coming. Healing sigils, healing waters, healing words, healing music. Feel that in your blood and bone. Feel it on your breath and see it with your witch's eye. See that astral temple strong and bright and glowing. Lift that astral temple up and remember the way here. We may come and visit whenever we have need. We may come and visit to feed ourselves and feed community. Feel that astral temple firm and real and solid. Breathe, witches. Breathe and feel that connection. Breathe and feel that connection. This temple is here and firm and solid. The mist over the water can be seen whenever it's needed. It is safe to shed your tears here. You can hear the song of the birds. You can feel the experience of whole time. You can sit under the shade of the willow tree and you can jump into those waters and let them caress you and carry you and hold you. See this astral temple that we have built together. Feel it, honor it, blow it a kiss, blow it some of your essence. Welcome, astral temple of Evans Lake. And yet there is more work to do in this place.
And as the temple becomes more real, as many of us witches arrive there, envisioning what we see, what we feel, I invite you to envision a wellspring, a wellspring, a wellspring. A wellspring that emerges from the center of our lake that is our temple. A wellspring that draws on the deepest bodies of water from the core of the earth and the oceans below, the oceans and the lands below at the core of the earth. A wellspring that draws from mystery and from the depths within each one of us. I invite you to stretch into your depths. I invite you to let the wellspring connect to the depths of this earth as we are held safely and sound within this temple space. Let's stretch into these spaces as we stretch more fully into ourselves. And I invite you to connect with the guardian of below. The guardian of below. I invite you to connect with the guardian of below and the creatures that dwell in the depths, that thrive in the depths. The creatures that thrive in the darkness. Perhaps they might want to assist us with this working. And when we reach into the watery depths, seeking to do change magic, we know that everything is connected. When we have the allyship of the mycelium working within whole time, we know that everything is connected. So when we pull on the thread of white supremacy, we also pull on the threads of capitalism, transphobia, homophobia. We pull on the threads of ageism and ableism. We work to protect the species and the sacred plants. We work to address climate change. We work to protect land and land sovereignty for Indigenous people. All is connected when we begin to end white supremacy. So let's take a breath in and out, and allow ourselves to connect with that wellspring. How does it emerge for you? What does it look like? How does your body respond to its emergence in this astral temple? In this space, we thought it would be important for our first action in this temple to be an anti-racist magical action. So I'd like to invite deep-rooted anti-racist culture changing. I'd like to invite the centering of Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC people into this community. And when I say centering, I don't mean power over. I mean making more space. I mean more inclusion, more cultural competency, more capacity, deeper depths. We invite new pathways of anti-racist cultures of magic and movement and connection to emerge. We invite the shifting of what is in our hearts and our minds. The shifting of what is in our hearts and our minds. That might mean for some of us finding clarity on right action, on allyship, on stepping in and stepping back. In this wellspring, we can all gain empowerment. We can all gain clarity to be agents of cultural change and enemies of empire. This is a spell for the shifting of BC Witch Camp towards an anti-racist culture within our camp, within reclaiming, within all of our communities. I invite a deep breath into that, because that's some big magic right there. So in a few moments, I'm going to invite us to activate the wellspring, to witness its waters begin to flow and to flow toward liberation. So first, let's just remember where we are in this temple with our allies. We are protected and held by the elements and the mycelium. And if we feel nervous or uncomfortable, we can reach out for our dolly. I've got mine in my hand here. We can reach out for courage and empowerment to Vasilisa and to the great Baba Yaga, the initiator, and the allies, and perhaps this itself, this working is an initiation of sorts. So as we breathe into this work, I invite you to again, take some space, notice what arises for you. What do you sense? What do you feel? Let these waters flow for justice, for unlearning, for the changing of culture. So what I'm going to do is invite us to take 3 breaths together. And on the 3rd breath, I invite you to tone for the activation of the waters of the wellspring to flow. And they will remain here for us to tend and do magic within. And if you want to tone for those waters to flow, go for it. If you're not sure, you can send your energy to the mycelium or to the elements to do what they will with, or you can stay in the temple and witness this working. So all of the ways that we are available to do this magic are welcome. So with that, let's take 3 breaths together. And if you'd like to go off mute and tone with me, let the waters flow. Oh.
As the wellspring flows, as the waters flow with this spell for liberation, this spell to shift our culture within and without, using our voices as we know how to do, to charge the spell, to send our life force out through our voices into the wellspring to strengthen it, into the temple itself, so that it becomes a place of change, into the mycelial network, pulsing out throughout the world. May we as witches use our voices to shift, to change, to wake it up and to shake it up. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Oh, breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Oh, breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath,
life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life and there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. She is here, she is here, she is arising. She is here, she is everywhere, she is arising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death, she is rising.
And feel those words reverberate off of our astral temple. Feel the song and the noise and the movement reverberate off our astral temple, off of into, around Evans Lake and this wellspring. And if you have that glass of water, that cup of water handy, grab it. And feel that song, that music, that power and energy that we created on this ethereal web called the internet. Feel that swirling around in each of our circles, of every circle cast. Feel that energy and feel it in this cup of water, feeling it thrum, feeling it activate, and feeling it connect you to that wellspring. See that beautiful wellspring. We're still in the astral temple. Feel it, see it. Use your witch's eye and see how that wellspring is connected to this cup of water. The molecules are the same molecules. The energy is the same energy. The source is the same source. Breath by breath, there is life, there is death. She is rising. And we are in her dark forest. And we are in this astral temple. And we are in lots of different places across the globe because we are witches and we do magic shit. Feel that cup of water connecting you to that astral temple. Feel that cup of water connecting you to that wellspring. And one more time, maybe we might do it again. One more time, tone, sing, breathe, and connect your water to our water. Water is life.
Water is life.
Over the coming weeks and days and months, this water connects you to the astral temple. This water connects you to that wellspring we built together. Anoint yourself with it. Anoint temples with it. Anoint your trees with it. Go to places where they make laws and decisions and draw pentacles on the doorways. Go to courthouses and anoint it. Go to places where change can happen other than the astral realm. Use this water to anoint it for change, for radical justice. And remember that this water connects us to that temple that will hold us through the discomfort of revolution. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Well, good witches, in the way of magic, a very magical technical thing happened while we were on this call, which is that we were supposed to go into small groups, but somehow that gift, that ability was taken away. Baba Yaga said, no small groups, not today. Whoosh! Ha ha ha, you thought you knew what was happening, you don't. And so I'm going to take that as grace and say that we're supposed to have this conversation as the larger group, and we can do this. We absolutely can do this. And here's what we're going to ask you to share, if you will, if it feels cogent, if it feels potent, if it feels like the right thing to do. So I'm going to ask you to take your attention inside one more time and ask, what is the healing? What is the gift of this temple for you? What did you receive in this temple? today? So feel for that on the next breath. What did you receive in this temple? A glimpse, a sight, a sound, a smell, piece of information. And it's okay if nothing came. Perhaps it will come later in dreams, but just simply notice if there was a gift of co-creating this temple today for you. And then feeling for, since we specifically are asking ourselves deeply, personally, and also in community to change, to really change, to not just say we're changing, but to act on that change. What is one action that you can commit to in this realm of perhaps shifting or opening to a different way of being in this community, in this BC Witch Camp community, in this reclaiming community that is perhaps shifting the ways in which we are replicating the harm that's being done in the overculture, the ways in which we're replicating white supremacy, the ways in which we are replicating transphobia, queerphobia, ableism, etc. So I invite you to just take a really deep look right now in this moment. What can you do? What can you do? What can you take on that feels doable for you in shifting this culture inside yourself, shifting this culture between us, shifting this culture globally? We are a global tradition at this point. Maybe there's something that you can take on here. It doesn't have to be huge, but it might be. It doesn't have to be small, but it might be. But it's one step, one commitment, one action. And since we're witches, we know that what we speak in sacred space has tremendous power. And so we can type into the chat. I'll try my best to read what gets written into the chat, but I'm even more interested in us sharing with our voices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle between all of the pages. And if you have something to say, raise your hand. I'll call on you. Who would like to say something now? Who would like to share something? Jane, I see you.
I had quite a vision of the wellspring of people that swam or went into Evans Lake, of having the overculture, decolonization, whatever you want to call it, white supremacy just being washed out of them as they swam in the lake. And then the particles of that madness went down into the wellspring and went down in the depths, and there were creatures like worms or whatever other creatures, water creatures, that ate that and then pooped out the most wonderful compost. But it also it was like they also kind of put a warning of sort of like, that's been done, don't do it again, you know, like as for people, as cultures going like, that system was done, don't do it again, you know, like, and it very deep and very far away in the bottoms of kind of a bottomless wellspring. And it just sort of like rinsing out the madness. We could just rinse it all out of systems, our systems. And then what I can do is I've stepped back an awful lot because I saw that I was gatekeeping others as in the way that I hated being gay, kept myself within reclaiming. And I just sort of like, well, no, I gotta step back for a long time and think about that. And then also what I'm doing is I've been working with a group on grandmother's hands and the embodiment, and also the white supremacy workbook. And
Great.
yeah, check.
Thank you, Jane. Sharon says, my message was to believe in repair and work on it rather than walking away and closing doors. Thank you, Sharon. Ashtar, welcoming, open my eyes more, include others, see them clearer, have conversations, sunlight, small groups to welcome others. We need to welcome the people that are not yet our friends. Who else has something you'd like to share with your voice? Was that Maven? Were you raising your hand or were you just twinkling? No, just twinkling. Okay. Anyone want to share? Raise your hand, keep it up. We want to hear from you. Melissa, I see you.
I'm just gonna position myself for a second. I'm new to witch camp and white and straight. I'm also a disabled woman, and I think that factors in here too. When I was envisioning the wellspring, I wasn't so much focusing on the spring itself, but I was looking at the ground and how the spring was nourishing that ground, because healing takes time. I don't think it's anything that we can expect ourselves to fix and adjust in one night or 1 year, but we can take a lot of steps and move a lot in a healing direction. But I think that spring, as it reached the ground, it was nourishing that ground to sort of begin to grow new and better things. That's what I think. And it's also to say that today, if you've noticed my screen, I've been on and off today because I spent my day doing a disability march. But instead of focusing that march so much on disability, we focused it on the Black Lives Matter protests and the Indigenous movements that have been happening in our communities. And a lot of folks in the group weren't sure how it was going to go, because they were like, well, we're disabled people, we should focus on how COVID is impacting us as disabled people. Why are we talking about Black Lives Matter? Why are we talking about land defenders? And, you know, getting people to see the connections and the webs and the intersections of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee that. It's like seeing the magic of a web for the first time. But I think seeing it also is a big step, and then what do you do to help that grow once you see it? And I think for me, being new, it's hard to say what I can do to contribute, but I know I have my knowledge that I can share, and I know that I can hear other people's experience as well, and I can support other people, so I can do those things.
Good work. Thanks, Melissa. Who else? Willow, you want to go?
Just thinking about the Indigenous people that are close to where I live, the Monacan Nation. For the first time in 27 years, they were unable to hold a powwow, which is their main moneymaker for the year. And I reached out to one of the people and asked if we could make a small donation. We had some money left over from a reclaiming ritual group that isn't functioning right now. And it was only $163, but we contacted them and asked if we could donate it and how we should best do that. And they told us that they're trying to save the river from a pipeline, and they're also needing to stock their food bank. And they had a couple of other pretty important issues, and they welcomed assistance. I didn't put it in such a way of like, hey, let's give you money and help you out, but more like, there's no way we can ever make reparation, and we're all in this together, and what can we do? And how are you? And they do want our help.
Yeah.
And they asked us to do whatever we can. And I just wanted to put that out there that, you know, if you do some research, you might find that the local lands that you live on might have a Facebook page like ours do. And they might have a website like ours do. And they might have a donate button like ours do. And I just want to let you know it's not as hard as we might think. Aline told us if it's not land and resources, it's not reparation. So how do we do resources? How do we do land? How do we restore? And the way to do that is relationship. It's mycelium. It's meeting people. It's talking. And I'm committing to staying with it and doing more of it and encouraging other people to do the same. Check.
I just put into the chat box some links also for some Indigenous Ohlone families that have been adversely affected by COVID-19. So if you'd like to contribute to that, you can just follow those links. Pasia, would you like to go?
This might not be what was intended, but I think one of the ways I can contribute is to tell folks when they have said or done something really hurtful.
Yes.
Because maybe they have no clue how horrible it was.
Yeah. Yes, you can. Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Okay, thanks, Patsy. Beat says, I see the power of our circles, all the ways we gather in circles together at camp to sit and talk and sing and eat and dream and dance and laugh and scheme. Our circles are our power and they still happen here. Thank you, Beat. Who else? Bridget, you want to go? I see Ember, I see your hand too. Go ahead,
I just
Bridget.
wanted to share an image that came around the wellspring that I didn't, anyway, it was cool. Is that from the wellspring, I mean, my image of it was this body, deep, 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 old well, big. And from it were all these little rivulets of water flowing out in all the directions. And it was going into the drinking water and the bath water and showers and all the swimming places. And it was just very powerful and hopeful. So yeah, so that was one piece that wanted to share. And in terms of action, I often get really overwhelmed because there are so many things to do. So I think one of the things that's really hard for me is actually responding to anything on Facebook. But then I feel like I'm complicit and not, and a lot of the work that we're doing in reclaiming is there. And so I'm going to commit to try to write something sometime, not a lot, but sometime. And often I get to it where everybody has said all these amazing things that, you know, I guess I could just say, I agree with all of that, but yeah, so that is just one thing. And then, yeah, there is I'm part of a group of witches from our community who's doing some anti-racist and dismantling white supremacy work through reading some books and talking with each other and holding each other accountable. So continue. Yeah.
Ember.
Yes. In terms of the vision in the Astral Temple, thank you for the Astral Temple, by the way. It was very nice to be at Evans Lake. I miss it so much. And the wellspring was very immediate and powerful, rising out of the center of the lake, and the ancient ones that Heidi called upon. I really felt them there. And one of the things that I saw was there was some muck that came out and went to the edges of to the land around, and the land could eat it. Right, there was the flow of water is strong enough, and the earth is strong enough to transform and compost that old material. And so that was very nice to see, and I could feel that in my body, and connected to that, Horizon and I have been talking about and have decided to co-host a White Caucus affinity group for this community so that we can come together and unlearn whiteness together in that space. And we will share more details about that soon.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, still toggling through the different screens. Who's excited? Ruby.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This was very exciting. This felt like the ritual I've been waiting for. Thank you so much. And what it felt like was that I got a sense of how much, I think the most powerful magic for me at camp is the culture we create and the culture we develop and the culture we explore. And it feels like this is a continuum of that. And what I got from this was just such a reassurance that we can do this work, and we've done it before, and we're going to do it again, and we can keep doing it. And it was just, and it builds on the cultural change that we've been building at camp, at many camps, throughout the camps. And it just was so lovely. I would like to commit to, I haven't figured out how to do this yet, but I will commit to collecting some of the resources that you started listing, and they will be on the resources page of the website, but I don't know how we're gonna do that yet, but I'll let you know. But I commit to doing that. We'll have a place where people can put out resources for doing this work.
Thank you very much. Horizon, I see you.
Hi, everyone. You know, speaking only for myself, I care deeply about justice magic, and it can be hard to activate on my own and even to call magic into my justice. So I feel like the wellspring to me opens up just a reminder about being a witch and using my magical tools. And it's something that we co-created, and that helps to activate my passion around collective liberation. It helps feed me for how I want to show up. And I would say that I commit to being in relationship, to being relational. And I have really a particular interest in talking with people in community that really have questions. Let me restart. I have an interest as a white person in talking with other white folks who have questions about, like, how do we do unlearning whiteness, especially because I sometimes worry that some of the language around unlearning white supremacy is not accessible to all white folks. And I'm really interested in having relational conversations with folks at everyone's starting place that I hope would be loving and supportive. And I just want to signal to myself I'm very interested in being available for that. And I hope that that is something that also comes through the space that Ember and I are gonna just co-hold with folks who participate. Thank you, Chuck.
Thanks, Horizon. I want to read. Shell, what I got is 1, examine what power I have in creating projects and innovations. And within this, 2, fight very seriously, like a real magical witch against the ever real and constantly present force that tries to decenter BIPOC goals and threaten their lives. And 3, ask, why are there so many white people in BC Witch Camp? What can be done to create belonging here for BIPOC folks? Thank you, Shell. These are questions that many folks are asking in the reclaiming community right now, and they're good questions to ask. And not a lot of easy answers, some easy answers, and then some other ones not so easy answers. So I want to just acknowledge those whose video is not on. If you have something you'd like to add, please chat. Just send a message to me in the chat and I will call on you. Is there anyone else who would like to share with the group? Tigress, I see you. And then Title.
This is not super profound, but I think just to keep showing up and to keep putting it in the center, I think is super helpful. I just feel like, you know, like any goal that you might have in your life, if you just keep working with it, you keep noticing things, that news articles that pertain to it, like if you just keep it in your conscious, and if we just keep it in our conscious, I think that's helpful. And just like, you know, if you don't know where to start, you just show up and the path opens. And what came to me being new in this community was, oh, this is great. This is a new community to work these things with. And so, you know, just the way we show up, and then when we show up together, it just, I can feel the tide growing, swelling, and I'm really encouraged by that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tigress. Title?
I was moving and dancing throughout in a way that I probably do at in-person witch campy things, but it was a little different too. And that just leads me to think about multiplicity. And I come from different traditions, and I want to keep welcoming the body and ease and comfort in the body, and pause for the body to catch up with the talk, and to have stillness be a choice and movement be a choice. Yeah, that's one thing. There's something that I'm mulling over these days. It's one of the parts of Layla Saad's Me and White Supremacy, talking about white silence. And one of the white silences that I keep is around sharing, for example, on social media, sharing words and images that come from people of color, from BIPOC, without putting my 2 cents in about it, without sharing what this is about for me. Mm-hmm. So there's an edge that I'm wondering about partly the wanting to decenter whiteness through not speaking at times and not using my voice, and also just hearing this call to actually use my voice to add or lift up. So that's an uncertainty and a curiosity that I am moving with these days.
Yep. Thank you for that. Well said. Let's take 1 or 2 more folks speaking. We want to hear from you. Yes, we do. I see you. I can't see your name. Hold on a second. Is it Heidi? Is that it? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Heidi.
When we were doing the ritual, I felt the land asked me to put like the names of everyone that I wanted to be at witch camp, that I wanted to do that work with. Some of them were really obvious, like people that I already do ceremony with, other witches, but I'm new to BC Witch Camp. I'm not new to witch work, but I'm new to BC Witch Camp. Mm-hmm. This is great. The Zoom makes it very accessible. So excited. But I felt the call to put in names of people that I find to be very offensive. You know, people that are like close to me that I feel like they don't get it. They're not the mycelium thing hasn't happened yet, where they're like understanding how it's all the same thing. So every time there's a new topic, they're like get all up in arms because they're like, what? There's another thing, and it's like it's the same thing. It's just this one, you know. And it just really felt like I was supposed to be a lot more forgiving and just really remember that all the decolonization that I've been through, all of the unlearning that I've been through, it hasn't been on my own.
Yeah.
You know, and just to be humble. Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi. Okay. Anyone else burn and to tell us what you think and what you saw? No, okay. All right, so, oh, here we go. Jolene, maybe this will be our last one. Jolene says in the chat, one thing I got from the temple is freedom, personal freedom, which is empowering. Thank you. I need to think and write about what actions I truly commit to. Doing this work helps. So thanks for all of you who spoke about doing magical work. You know, this is the magical, bringing magic to our activism and activism to our magic is perhaps goes without saying, but it's always really good to remember that we have those tools and that I will just say from me personally, I believe that it is time for those of us who've been doing this work under the radar and underground to be much more above ground and much more sharing of the skill sets that we've been developing for many years, and also humbly shifting and changing as we need to do, because there is lots and lots of work to do within our tradition for sure. And I would like to advocate for us, you know, to be bolder about bringing this work out into the overculture. Yeah. Alessandra, would you like to share, my dear, and then we'll close?
Hi. So beautiful to be at Evans Lake, and one thing I really saw was the willow and the way the willow moves water, and that being its work at the edge of that shore of the lake, and really having that vision of the times our community has gathered under that willow to have these difficult conversations, and feeling and remembering the texture of those, which at times have been so achy, and how they are continuing to move and shift. And yeah, just my vision was really moved there, and feeling moved by the loss of some of those people not being in that circle anymore, and by the work that we keep doing together, and that we're here together, and that wellspring keeps moving that water, and that willow keeps moving that water. And I think one of the actions I felt called to was just to continue to speak with and share with the people of our community who don't feel like they can engage necessarily in these rituals or in this way anymore, to be someone to keep having these conversations, to share the work we're doing here together tonight, to continue to do that. And another thought just about even as someone with few resources, you know, what money might I have towards another BIPOC scholarship at BC Witch Camp, so that really we're centering who can be there in this magic, in our togetherness, by this water, under this willow, when we do have that precious gift of being there together. And I'm so grateful for all this work we've had together tonight in this magic.
Thank you, Alessandra. Okay, so just before we devote one deep anchoring into self, into ourselves, the work of tonight, the voices we've heard, perhaps what was unspoken, anchoring in this vision of capacity building in this temple, anchoring in this vision of our commitments as we spoke them into the sacred container, into the wellspring, and into the mycelium network, anchoring into the power of our voices individually and collectively with great gratitude.
And remember that we have to feed this wellspring too. You might be feeling very present in your space and in your body right now, but we still have threads in that astral temple, and we must, our time here is limited for this evening. So take a moment with that witch's eye to look around one more time at our astral Evans Lake. Take a moment to feel the breeze and hear the animals and connect into the lapping water. See that beautiful wellspring and how it clears us out and cleans us and helps us to do this work. And know that you can return here at any time, that this place is always accessible, and that we witches can come here whenever we need to. And maybe you might notice your threads being pulled on, and that might be the wellspring saying, hey, I need a little bit, I need to be fed too. And so send love and appreciation and your willingness and your spirit and your heart to that wellspring, because we have to feed it so it can feed us. This is a reciprocal relationship. So one last time from this place at our astral Evans Lake, take a deep breath and feel your relationship to this land, whether that goes back years or whether you've never actually stepped foot there. You now have a relationship with it. And one more time, feel your relationship to the mycelium. Feel your connection to that web, that super highway of energy, like neurons firing, and feel yourself leaving the temple, pulled back along those mycelium threads. Feel the pieces of you returning to your body. Feel the mycelium easily carry you along, popping you back up wherever it is on the planet that your body sits right now. Feel all of the pieces of you fill up that sacred vessel that is your body. Take some deep breaths and feel yourself back in your home base. Take a moment to just connect and feel your earlobes and your tiny little toes and the back of your knees and the tip of your nose. And if you feel the inclination, tap the edges of your body. If you feel the inclination, touch the top of your head. And say your name out loud 3 times. Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix. Welcome home.
So as we prepare to devoke mycelia, to release mycelia from this night's working, we've got a long relationship with mycelia. And the sponginess, because we've been working with water, I'm just recalling the sponginess of mycelia, and that sponginess is related to resilience. And I don't know how we're going to feed the well springs with the water that we've gathered, or with other waters, and but I'm feeling that connection alive and moist as we this night bid you, mycelia, who has been working with us longer than we have known that we were working with you. Hail and farewell. Thank you.
And Baba Yaga. Oh, thank you so much for flying around over the edges of this great landscape, lakescape. Thank you, Baba Yaga, for bringing us to.
Rose, you muted yourself somehow.
We will look forward to being together with you, and we're so grateful to you. And sometimes when we want a little amusement, we can be you, a crazy young girl on the back of a woolly mammoth or a great mastodon crashing through the north. So from those places and from this place, we bid you good night, hail and farewell.
And Dolly, we thank you for being here, for being always tucked in our pocket. We will continue to nourish you as you care for us and allow us to be brave, allow us to take risk, do the impossible, do what we need to do what we need to do to survive, get through, make this place better than when we first came. Go if you must, stay if you will. Hail and farewell, sweet Dolly.
And Vasilisa, Vasilisa the brave, Vasilisa the wise, the descendant, the ancestor, in whole time. Thank you for being here with us as we begin our journey, as we journey, as we have journeyed. We may enter the forest alone, but we enter the forest alone together. Thank you, Vasilisa, for everything you show us, teach us, and are with us in this journey. Stay if you will, go if you must. Hail and farewell.
And to our allies who traveled with us, we so welcome your company and your help. Thank you, ancestors, ancestors of lineage, silver bloods, red bloods, green bloods, blue bloods, all of our allies, known and unknown, familiar and unfamiliar. Thank you for being with us tonight. And for now, we say, allies are sacred, and we proceed on our own. Hail and farewell.
And one more time, just tap your belly and say thank you to yourself for holding you through this. Trust yourself that you will take what you need from this place. Shake yourself and say thank you to Earth for our solidity, for our wildness. Let out a tone and thank the waters, the wellspring, always trickling in our blood. Snap your fingers and feel your divine spark and say, thank you, fire, please be kind. And take another deep breath and give thanks for that fresh air and the fresh oxygen and all the trees that are providing it for us. To the elements, thank you. We bid you hail and farewell.
And now we prepare to take down this magical container, knowing that the work of changing the culture of this community, the work of loving justice in our bodies and in this community, is work that we will be doing both in the astral temple and also in this Muggle world. So let us take down this container by pulling it into our bones, into our blood, into the spark of life that lights up the mitochondria in every cell of our bodies, breathing it in. Planting it in our breath. Knowing that our bodies are a pathway back to the above and below of the wellspring. As we do this work in the world, we have the pathway within our bodies to return to the wellspring and do this work in the spirit world as well as in the Muggle world. And one more thing. Several years ago at lunchtime at California camp, Rosemary Dance said to me, "We need to get our magic on the wires." That could never be more true than in the next 46 days in the United States and in the next year and years and months in the world. So let's take a little spark and throw it into the wires for all of the justice and love that is needed as we gather digitally through Zoom, all these powerful electric places. Let us throw the final bit of the circle right into this screen. Blessed be. The circle is open but unbroken. May the peace of the gods and the goddess and the land and our love of justice go with us. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. I'm going to add one thing as an org, because I forgot to tell the teachers about this. I need to make a quick announcement that we will be having our annual general meeting, which we usually have at camp, on October 4th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's October 4th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. At that meeting, we will be deciding how to spend some of the money that we raised from online camp in support of our commitment to justice. We will be also talking about the future of camp. And we need a quorum for our nonprofit status. So please put it in your calendars.
How many would that be for the quorum?
The quorum would be 10% of online registration, which would be 20 people.
No, it would be 28. We're up to 280 people.
28.
And counting.
Counting. So 30, 40. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Love you forever.
Love you, witches.
Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Blessed be. Take care.
Blessed be. Thank you, everyone.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Ruby, are you staying on for a moment?
I can do that. Yeah.
No complaint but us chickens.
That was fabulous. Thank you.
Sure was good to be with you all. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for doing what you do.
I mean, today wasn't as smooth as it sometimes is, so actually thank you all. Did we lose Suzanne? Oh. Right, Suzanne dropped. Ruby, I have thoughts on.
So Chuck, I just wanted to say that considering the lead up to this, I thought it was like super smooth. I was expecting all kinds of other
twinkle twinkle.
Yeah, this was like good job. It was great.
Totally.
Yeah.
was very grateful that it wasn't like 100 people like our first ritual. I think we probably always need to have 2 people on for tech stuff.
Right.
And I've gone in and I've changed the settings and the account to hopefully allow for breakout rooms, but we should test that. Thank you to Beat for privately talking me off the ledge when I was trying to figure out if I could fix it or what. So I did convey my apologies to Suzanne, and I am sorry that the breakout room piece didn't work, and I appreciate all the grace.
It worked great. It was a
I
lovely
thought it worked really well. I liked it.
It was
I didn't notice
seamless.
the lack of it. I wasn't going to stick around and I got sucked in.
I actually don't love the folding in and folding out of the Zoom break rooms, which is why I tried to remind people that it sometimes can take a while, so to be patient. So personally, like as a participant, I don't love that. So you know, for what that's worth. So
Tidal, were you going to say something?
Just to check, it felt seamless to me. And if, I only knew that there were going to be break rooms because there'd been talk about break rooms, and then I forgot about it, and then suddenly it was over. So no problem. Yeah.
No, it worked great.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, thank you all, and yeah.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. So, Chuck, just so you know, there's a couple of people going to hopefully joining the tech team, and maybe we'll have another conversation about some of the stuff that we've learned in the last 3 months.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, actually.
Yeah.
I think like having multiple people in, and then I also had some thoughts about like maybe in an ideal world, the person, like we have one person who can screen share or do the slides, because what I struggled with was I couldn't see the chat and things when I was trying to but I do think that the slides are helpful for me anyway. Like I need
It's enchanting for sure.
Like I think in an ideal world, like maybe there's even 3 tech people, and then one person just doesn't have to juggle so much, and then maybe I'd be and I think like I was trying to remind myself like, oh, perfectionism is like a tool of white supremacy. So like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And like, oh, I bet there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we should let somebody techie do this. And I'm like, no, we should all fail together. So, like.
No, I think it's good. And I'm finding people being really, the word's coming, unforgiving, but that's not what I mean forgiving, but that's not really what I mean. People are being really patient with it, and there's a lot of understanding about, that this is what it is, right? And if we were in person, there would be other kinds of glitches that we would be having.
Right.
So it's,
you'd all be covered in scented products.
Yeah. And taking on and off shoes at the door. Like there's always,
and not leaving our cell phones in our cabins.
And we're learning how to hold the energy and move the energy in this way, and it's all good. And I really, really much appreciation for the work that you do to do it. It's so great.
Looks great. Totally
It feels very small in the grand scheme of things, so I was happy to pitch in, especially since a lot of the things are later in the evening, and there's not that's in the real evening that is easy for me to help with. So it's from that perspective, it feels like a very, very small act of imperfect service to offer, since I appreciate you all so much.
Well, I'm sort of hoping that we all feel like what we're offering is small, so that we're all going, oh yeah, my little bit. Like that's good. I like
more
that.
tech team is great. I like more tech team.
More what?
More tech team is great.
Yes. Yeah. I know if we could, so if you want to think about who else might be, but I know that there are 3 other people who have offered offered at the beginning anyway. And at that point, it was too overwhelming to try and make a bigger team. But I
Yeah,
will
do it.
follow up
Mhm.
with them. Yeah.
Great.
Ruby, do I need, what's the name of our web spinner again? Victoria?
Virginia. You can share it with me if you want, and I can share it with her, or you can share it with her, either way.
I think I can just send an email because I think she has the login. So I think we'll just say it's here in the same place, go and grab and yeah.
Can you make the title, like tell her what to title it?